So how much can I get for a trade? Well, I don't think bananas are worth what you think they're worth. If shopping for a new car drives you bananas, head to Community Auto Group in Mason City. We have the best selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. And you know, with Community, you're getting a straightforward deal from a straightforward dealer. I'd like to buy this car. No? Seriously? Next time I'll skip the monkey business and go to Community Auto Group.
Okay, we'll call a meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. Before us, we have today's agenda and the minutes of the meeting of the 18th of June.
At this time, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda and the minutes of the 19th regular session.
Okay.
And I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve today's agenda, the minutes of the meeting of the 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Full business?
Ayes none.
No, sir. New business? Mary?
Last week we closed County Road E20 for construction or reconstruction of the 3 miles from Eagle to 300th Street. And yet it's kind of slow going because of the rain, but they have started pavement removal on the curb and started some pipe extensions. So, okay. Next week we should start beginning on some ditch cleaning for the corn stalks and some flood debris from that storm we got a week or so ago. And then interviewed for the temp mowing positions and offered that to 2 people. So hopefully we can get them in and started because the mowing's kind of getting out of control. Grass is growing very fast this year with all the water we've had. So look forward to having them start so we can get that taken care of. And then we finished up interviewing for the road maintenance employee to replace Clark, the Clear Lake foreman. And so look to make an offer hopefully this week. So that is all I have new to report on. The second item on the agenda for your consideration is consideration of awarding a bid for the construction of salt shed in Clear Lake. For fiscal year 2013, I had budgeted some money to construct, I budgeted $50,000 to construct a salt shed over by the airport site, the 5 acres we have over there. And I went ahead and took quotes for a 40 by 64 pre-engineered building, which includes the labor to install it, and it includes the precast panels, which is like the footing for the building, or the foundation for the building. And I had given you copies of a photo. This is similar to what it would look like. And then Brightspan was the low bidder, so I provided some information in regards to what their some of the specifications of the buildings. We had 2 bids. Both bidders bid $12,500 for the precast panels, and then Friedman Distributing from Belle Plaine, Iowa bid for the building and labor to install $18,142.74 for a total, including the panels, $30,642.74. And Christensen Builders LLC from Lake Mills, like I said, they had $12,500 for the precast panels, and then for labor and building materials bid $35,180 for a total bid of $47,680. So it'd be my recommendation to move forward with Freeman Distributing to provide us with the building for our salt shed.
I was looking over that. I didn't see, do they have a rough idea of what the life of the buildings are, salt in them and stuff?
Well, the components are hot dip galvanized. So prior to the building being, they manufacture the components and then they dip them in the galvanizing. It's not just sprayed on, so it gets on the inside of the components to protect them from the salt, because the salt is very corrosive environment, and with the humid weather, it's going to provide a lot of moisture. So that helps prevent the rust versus just spraying it on. And then The concrete panels are concrete, so as long as they're not damaged and the steel inside isn't exposed, they should be able to hold up and withstand the salt. And then the fabric on the top of the building has Brightspan has a 16-year warranty. The other company, the AccuSteel building, has a 20-year warranty, and they said they would go with that as well. And that's for the fabric that goes on top of the building.
Surprised that the total bid of $30,000 from them when we budgeted $50.
No, because Christensen Brothers was $47,680, and then we'll need to do some of the county will be doing the site work and putting down the rock pad for the contractor to come in and do the work.
Okay.
So there will be some additional costs with the county prepping the site with their own labor.
So you're recommending we go with the Freeman?
Freeman Distributing Inc. out of Belle Plaine, in the amount of $30,642.74.
At this time, I'll make a motion that we accept bid from Freeman Distributing for $30,642.74.
Okay, and I'll second it. I asked all my questions last week.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the quote from Friedman Distributing in Belle Plaine, Iowa, $30,642.74 for the building, the salt shed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 3, consider quotes for 3 tandem trucks, boxes, and snow equipment.
All right, well, in fiscal year 2014, I have budgeted $600,000 for the purchase of 3 tandem trucks, and I know we're still in 2013. However, it takes about 3 to 4 months to get the chassis from the manufacturer, and then it takes about another 8 weeks to have the equipment installed. So if we order it now, we'll probably see the trucks in mid-December. And I hope the bid tab I provided you is not confusing. I split it up between the 3 trucks because the trucks are getting different snow equipment because the shops are different sizes, so we can't always get the same exact snow equipment, or the truck may not fit into the shop. So that's why the snow equipment prices vary per truck. And then one of the trucks had a new sander that we just replaced last year, so I'm gonna reuse that sander instead of purchasing a new one. We took quotes for a Freightliner from Don's Truck Sale, and then we also took quotes from Interstate Motor Trucks, and he quoted an International Workstar. Don's Truck quoted $105,035 for the chassis. And then, do you want me to go through all these individually?
How about just a summation of
Okay.
why you prefer one vendor over the other?
And I guess I don't necessarily have a preference of one vendor over the other. I believe the International and the Freightliner are both good trucks. Don's Truck Sale came in low. The total truck cost for all 3 trucks from Don's Truck is $598,145. And then the total trade value for the 3 trucks we'd be getting rid of is $32,000. So the total package for Don's Truck Sale is $566,145. If you look at the Interstate Motor for the International Workstar truck, the total truck package, including all the snow equipment and the truck equipment, is $603,725. The total trade values for the 3 trucks we're getting rid of is $32,500. So the bottom line is $571,225. So they're comparable bids. Don's Truck is about $9,000, or sorry, $5,000 less. So I just made a recommendation to go with Don's Trucks.
Okay. Gentlemen, questions for Mary?
No, at this time, if you accept a motion to accept Don's bid, so moved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to accept the bid from Don's Truck Sales in Fairbank, Iowa, of $566,145 for tandem trucks. Any discussion?
They're not getting cheaper, are they?
No.
No.
No. Again, fortunately, under the $600,000 estimate.
Yeah.
Close. Yep.
Any,
And one, you comment about the cost. One of the factors some of this has gone up is the new emission standards. A lot of them had to do redesigns of their engines to be compliant with the 2010 emission standards. And when we had purchased trucks a few years ago, we talked about the different methods that manufacturers were looking at utilizing. And at that time, International was not utilizing that urea that we have in a few of our trucks, and they are now doing that. So, but that is one of the reasons the trucks have gone up in cost.
additional comments or questions, gentlemen?
Nope.
Okay, at this time I'll call for the vote. All in favor of accepting Don's Truck Sales bid of $566,145, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Other items, Mary?
It's wet and it needs to quit raining. That's about it.
We have it our fair amount of moisture, haven't we?
I think it's starting to get to people.
Do we have any water going over the roads right now?
Not at this moment, no. B20, there's a tile broke over by Dogwood and B20, and the water's coming up onto the shoulder, but it's not going over yet, so,
Okay, thanks, Mary.
thank you.
Okay, item B, County Auditor's business, claims.
Claims here for your consideration.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'll make a motion to accept the claims and have you sign where appropriate.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the claims and authorize chair's signature where appropriate. All in favor?
Aye.
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 We've got the payroll warrant for the week ending 6/15/2013.
Motion to accept the warrant.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would so move to accept and approve the warrant report as of the 15th of this month.
Okay,
I'll second.
motion made and seconded to accept the payroll warrant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, resolution to approve fiscal year 2013-14 employee payroll.
Yes, I think they're finally done with that, and at this time, I've looked it over a couple of times, and at this time, I'll make a motion to do resolution 2013 number 52 for employee payroll for 2013-14.
Okay, I'll second resolution number 54 for the payroll resolution.
Okay, motion made and seconded for
52.
payroll resolution 2013 number 54.
52, excuse me.
I started that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Drainage.
Got one drainage issue here that is kind of unusual. It's in Drainage District 5, lateral 14. James Jorgensen actually contacted Kurt Holt, and he did repair part of it, but they believe there's one more spot with a problem.
Okay.
He contacted our office and asked to be reimbursed, and because he had a contractor come in, and I said, well, that's not the typical procedure. I'm not sure how you would like to handle it, so I suggested we would take the information, and we told him not to do any more additional repairs until somebody can look at it. Not 100% certain if it is a drainage district. It appears to be, but that's where that arose from. We took the information, not exactly sure how you wanted to proceed with that.
Well, I think Jim had called me one day, and he did have a problem, probably a month ago.
Okay.
And yeah, it's down just south of Thornton. And he worked on that, and I think this pertains partly to that, and I told him, I said, we need to have somebody come down and check that, so. At this time, I'm gonna make a motion that we turn this over to Larry Sherman and have him investigate and do what needs to be done.
Okay.
I've had a lot of calls from people in the last 2 weeks on drainage problems. I think the ground's just too wet, for one thing.
And I'll so second the motion to
Okay.
investigate with Larry Bierman.
Motion made and seconded to authorize Mr. Fearman to investigate drainage issue in District 5, lateral 14. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 4, resolution to approve property tax credits and exemption for the year 2012.
Sorry, but thank you. Every year about this time, you would consider this resolution. The good news is, last year, let me back up. The good news is, this year, the state is estimating that they will fund 100% of the homestead credit. Last year, I believe it was 78%. Jay, you're looking right at that. So this resolution simply puts into place what the state says they're going to estimate to fund. And in this case, for all of the credits and exemptions, the state's estimating to fund 100% of those. We plan to calculate taxes on Tuesday, July 9th, certified to the treasurer then. And typically the treasurer's office prints the tax bills in the next few weeks after that and gets them sent out to property owners. So that's the timeline we're looking at this year.
Okay, very good. Gentlemen, questions for Sandy?
Yeah, this is the first time they've done that 100% for 5 years.
Yeah, I wish I would have looked to see
I
the
bet
last
it's done
time.
these
It's
10,
been-
12 years.
The one thing about it last year, some sort of went up from the prior year,
Yeah.
so they've been getting there.
Yeah.
But at this time, if the board would so accept a motion for the resolution to accept and approve the property tax credit exemptions for the year coming up, using resolution number 53.
At this time, I'll second resolution 53.
Motion made and seconded to approve resolution 2013, number 53. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Item 5, resolution to approve auditor's transfer of funds.
I'm gonna transfer $1,975,000 from the general supplemental to the general fund.
I think this has a lot to do with our health insurance program and MHDD fund. At this time, I'll make a motion to, what they're talking about. So this time, I'll make a motion to resolution 2013, number 54.
Okay?
Okay, I would so second that.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to approve resolution 2013, number 54 as described. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, item 6. Motion to approve cigarette permit for the market at Oakwood. And item 7, motion to approve cigarette permit for the Diamond Court Pure Pleasure.
So right here and everything, it appears in order, just need your signature.
And so, make a motion to approve and accept the permits. Two listed businesses here.
I'll second said motion.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the cigarette permits as mentioned. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Consider resolution to approve 2080 agreement for Iowa Precinct Atlas Consortium. Sandy, you have some
Right.
information to present?
Yes, the next two items are concerning Precinct Atlas. I've got some handouts if anything I say generates a few questions and we can go over them or get them distributed. Precinct Atlas, in short, is a precinct election management system that helps the election officials process voters at the polls on election day. Our own MIS department wrote the program. And currently, there are 52 counties who have entered into a memorandum of understanding with Sarasota County to use Precinct Atlas. Those memorandums expire on June 30th. So with that date coming up, in order to find a way for counties to continue to use Precinct Atlas, The creation of a new consortium is occurring. Counties are presenting this very resolution to approve the 28E agreement to their boards of supervisors to become members of this new consortium called Iowa Precinct Atlas Consortium, IPAC. So Saragota County will join the other 52 counties in joining that consortium. And that is the resolution I believe you have in front of you to enter into a 28 agreement. This is to just continue, since that memorandum has expired, or will expire on June 30th, this is to continue use of Precinct Atlas in these counties.
Okay. Gentlemen, questions for Sandy?
I talked to Ken the other day, and I'm going to a meeting this afternoon. We have lots of interest in either leasing or selling or whatever this Precinct Atlas. And these counties are very diligent, and they're paying costs to work with us on it. So I think it's a very good deal, and I think it's a system that we come on and it's gotten fine-tuned good enough where parts of all over the United States are looking at it. At this time, I'll make a motion to do Resolution 2013, number 55, the Precinct Atlas, and do it with the consortium.
And I'll second Resolution 55 and comment that there's that organization, NACO, that recognizes the National Association of Counties. So
Yes,
anyway,
yes.
so seconded.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the 28E for the Iowa Precinct Atlas Consortium, Resolution 2013, number 55. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So in the past few weeks and the next few weeks, Saragota County, along with other counties, are joining into the 28E agreement to establish that consortium. And by the end of the month of June, in the next few weeks, the signature pages that you're going to, all of the counties are going to be signing will be recorded with the, filed with the Secretary of State to establish that IPAC consortium. And then, before you, the purpose of establishing, one of the purposes of establishing that consortium is so that that governmental entity can purchase a limited exclusive, I gotta make sure I get that right, license from Saragota County, which is the next agreement before you. The limited exclusive license is really so that IPAC can purchase that and distribute Precinct Atlas to the member counties. Purchase that from Saragota County so that Precinct Atlas can be used by the member counties to that consortium. So the next item before you then is that agreement with IPAC, the new consortium.
My discussion with Ken the other day, he mentioned the fact that we're having additional counties come on board all the time.
Thank you. I was going to mention that there are 7 new counties that we're talking with that we expect will be joining the 52 that are current users of Precinct Atlas. So that's good news.
Well, this also helps us with this agreement. It also helps us recover the costs that we were incurring with doing this. We didn't do it with the idea that we was going to make this whole statewide or nationwide or anything else. We did it with the idea that we was going to do it through the Saragota County. And we're lucky enough, and it just bloomed into a pretty big deal, and we're going to recuperate, I think, all our money back that we ever put in this thing.
I think it really shows the fact that the system sells itself because it's so effective, and other counties want to become part of this program. And I think it's all for the betterment of the democratic system that you have a reliable and highly efficient system like this in place for an election. So, good news, really.
They can't get through an election and remember all the laws and the rules for every individual that comes in. So I'm sure the election officials struggle the same way, and Precinct Atlas steps them through every circumstance that might be applicable to each individual.
And I know the election officials are really happy with the program. It makes things so easy.
They really benefit as well.
Yeah, you talk to other auditors and other supervisors in other counties, and they pretty well pat us on the back for having such a nice program. At this time, I'll make a motion to do Resolution 2013, number 56, sign exclusive agreement.
Okay, and also second, number 56, for the
Okay.
limited exclusive licensing agreement.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the license agreement, 2013, number 56. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's it for today, Senator.
Yes.
Okay. Fireworks permit, Lon Etner.
Lon would like to have a display on his property on July 6th with a rain date of July 7th. This is the 5th year he has received a permit from you. His insurance information is in order.
I don't think he has to worry about the rain date.
Well, with that, I'd motion to approve Lon Etner's
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the fireworks permit for Lon Etner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Case management, motion to approve carryover at 16 hours of vacation. Mary Beth.
I just have a request to you to carry an additional 16 hours over next year. I kind of lost the month of May due to illness and I'm just not going to be able to squeeze that in, so I was just wondering if I could carry 16 hours over to next year.
Okay, gentlemen, comments or questions?
No comment.
No comments? I can't take a couple of
We
comments.
we can at least blame it on the rain.
Right, yeah, that's
Okay.
fine, do that.
Should get a hit for everything. So, but with that, I'd motion to approve this carryover of 16 hours of vacation.
I guess I can
He
second
would've-
it.
he would've said
Okay,
no.
motion made and seconded to approve the carryover of 16 hours of vacation. Any other additional comments?
No.
Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item E, County Treasurer, motion to abate taxes for 2011, 12, 13 in the amount of $148 plus interest and the cost of each year, and tax sales certificate for 2000. I'm not quite sure exactly for what year, on mobile home
Through the
bin
14th.
004.
This is a request from the county treasurer. The mobile home was jumped in 2007.
2007.
Yes.
At this time, I'll make a motion to abate the taxes on said property.
Okay, and I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded to abate the taxes as described. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Environmental health, presentation of proposed dangerous dog ordinance. Brian.
All righty. Well, good morning. I'm Brian Hanna. I'm with the Environmental Health Service Section for the Health Department. And want to take the opportunity to, kind of keeping with how we've done things in the past with ordinance adoptions, is present this to the supervisors kind of as an introduction and allow for certain questions, and then I guess ask for your formal date setting for public comment and public hearing. The health department and health departments from across the state do have some ability to address dogs and other animals through the Chapter 351 of the Code of Iowa. And that code does allow the Board of Health and local law enforcement to do quite a bit. They define dogs as property. They do give stipulations in that law to kill an untagged dog. It also allows for addressing of rabies vaccinations, which is really the predominant reason I think why Board of Health are involved. If dogs are biting or have bit or have not had rabies vaccinations, or if there is an epidemic of rabies that's becoming rampant, it provides for some very specific legislation for us to deal with those situations. It also deals with dogs running at large. Local law enforcement, local boards of health can deal with those dogs that may be running at large, that may be tagged or not tagged, and then it allows us to impound those dogs and deal with them appropriately. 351 also specifies what duties a dog owner has, in the sense that making sure that the dog must have rabies vaccinations, must be tagged. It also stipulates that local boards of health and law enforcement will be notified in the case that a bite has occurred. It also allows for confinement if a dog has bitten, generally in rabies cases or in bite cases where a dog doesn't have current rabies shots, that dog needs to be quarantined for a period of 10 days. That quarantine period allows for observation to determine if that dog is showing any kinds of sign of rabies. So we can do that. We can do that how we want. Generally that works out so that the homeowner confines that animal on their own property. We don't have to take that animal off property, as long as the homeowner is going to follow what we stipulate. If they're not, or if we don't feel like they're going to follow what we stipulate for confinement, then we can remove that animal and have it placed in a location where we can observe that animal. In the case that an owner does not pick up an animal at the end of a quarantine period, it does give local boards of health some authority to be able to deal with that animal either through euthanasia or some other means. There are some exemptions that are included in those rules. Generally, if a dog is bitten and there's some law enforcement generally included in that. There are research institutions or like facilities shall be exempt from provision. So this gives us a lot of authority, but what it does not give us the authority to do is deal with dogs that may potentially bite and behave in a very aggressive manner, or dogs that have bitten. So what you have before you, and it's a draft, the Board of Health adopted this last week, 2 weeks ago, last Friday, and they have adopted, and then it comes before you, of course, for approval and implementation. This ordinance gives us quite a bit more ability to deal with those dogs that, number one, are potentially dangerous dogs, or are considered dangerous dogs. In other words, they have bitten. I can certainly walk through the ordinance, the proposed draft with you if you would like, and read through it for purposes of just touching on this. Dangerous dog basically means a dog that has engaged in or has been trained to engage in exhibition of fighting, attacked a person or domestic animal without justification causing serious bodily injury, behaved on 2 or more occasions in a manner that a responsible person would believe posed an unjustified threat of serious injury or death to a person, was declared to be dangerous dog by an animal control authority, court of another jurisdiction, or a governing body of another jurisdiction. So that has happened before, where a dog from another jurisdiction, i.e. another county, has been removed from, say, a municipality and brought into our county. So we have then generally addressed those situations with a simple letter. So that defines specifically a dangerous dog. It defines who an owner is, which is pretty straightforward. Provocation defines what that is, and then potentially dangerous dog. This ordinance revolves around 2 very specific definitions, and the first is a dangerous dog, which has basically bitten, or a potentially dangerous dog. Potentially dangerous dog is a little bit more in-depth. It's a dog that may reasonably be assumed to pose a threat to public safety, as demonstrated by many of the following behaviors: causing any injury to a person or domestic animal on private or public property that is less severe than a serious injury, without provocation, chases or approaches a person, a domestic animal, or a wheeled conveyance, so i.e. a bicycle, on sidewalks or any public or private property in any apparent attitude of attack, or has no propensity, tendency, or disposition to attack unprovoked. Acts in a highly aggressive manner within a fenced yard enclosure and appears to be to a reasonable person to be able to jump over and escape. So it talks about restraint is specifically defined here within the real property limits of the owner, and secured, confined thereupon in a physical fence, kennel, or confined indoors. I can get into as much detail as you would prefer. Serious bodily injury means a laceration to an avulsion of the face of a human being, laceration to an avulsion of another area of a person's body requiring sutures, broken or dislocated bones, permanent nerve damage, partial or total loss for use of part of a body part for a significant period of time, or disability 50% or more for a significant amount of time. And then it defines trespass. It then gets into owner responsibility, which is really what this boils down to, is dog owners taking responsibility for their dogs. And again, I can read through each one of these if you would like. If every dog found to be potentially dangerous or dangerous shall be kept under restraint at all times. No dog shall trespass. Every dog within Sarasota County shall be identified at all times, which is also according to 351. Talks about costs that will be borne by the dog owner. If at any time a dog is quarantined, impounded, and in the process of appeal, all costs shall be the responsibility of the dog owner. So then it gets into determination of a potentially dangerous dog. It talks about what we're going to be looking for in these cases. What this also really does is provide for the dog owner some rights. There is a due process to Iowa law, and so the Board of Health was very clear in stating that is very important, that we really recognize that. So due process for a dog owner, if the dog should be addressed through this ordinance, is they're handled directly through the administrative authority, which is the Department of Public Health. If the decision's made by the Department of Public Health, they can be appealed and taken to the Board of Health, where they can make their case. And then ultimately, if they so choose, they can take that on to the courts. So if a dog is found to be a potentially dangerous dog, there's a series of different actions that we may take, and I stress may. We use that term in the ordinance. The owner of a dog shall be liable for the cost of impounding and keeping the dog for each of the requirements listed above, which are basically quarantining the dog for a period of 10 days, impound and quarantine of a dog. Anytime we have to take the dog away or impound it away from their property, then the owner is going to be responsible for those costs. Then we may require a series of different stipulations for a dog that has been found to be potentially dangerous. Of course, proof of current vaccinations, which is in line with Chapter 351 of the Code of Iowa. An identification microchip installed in the dog. The dog, while on the owner's property, shall at all times be kept indoors or in a securely fenced yard or enclosed from which the dog cannot escape. We can or may require that if a dog leaves a premise that it be muzzled. Again, these are may. These are things that we'll have to deal with on an individual case-by-case basis. We stipulated in here that we may require an obedience course be taken at the owner's expense. Again, I'm kind of summarizing here, and I can hit on these more if you would like.
May I, Brian?
Yes.
I sit on the Board of Health, and that meeting 2 weeks ago, as much as in-depth the audience here thinks that we're getting into, which we are, who you really dug into it then. And there's other municipalities in the state of Iowa, and of course we had the 351 state, and of course we use that as a template to go on. And, but there was a lot of questions asked, and we have a very good board, and we had a newer member of the board, and they were really curious on the step. Well, okay, you sit on the Board of Health, and in a year's time, 12 meetings to start a new ordinance, if you will. That's a big deal, and so we're not taking this lightly. I mean, it's the new member I know got really thrown in the fire at first, but it's a very good question. But yeah, go ahead. I'm just saying that for the benefit of everyone here.
And it's a good point. We did have a lot of dialogue, and you know, this is an ordinance I'm pretty proud of. I spent personally a lot of time researching, you know, case law. I researched other examples of ordinances. I have multiple copies that I used to help draft this. Randy Nielsen, who represents the Board of Health as far as legal advice, reviewed this and also provided in-depth comment for us to address and include. So, again, I don't want to keep diving into all the minor details on this, but we do go in and define exactly what a dangerous dog is. which is pretty important because honestly, if a dog bites once, we basically put them on notice using this ordinance. If a dog bites again, and this is what it really boils down to, you know, dogs sometimes bite and sometimes they're provoked or unprovoked, but it gives us some latitude. If a dog bites a second time, we as a Department of Public Health feel pretty strongly that we need to be able to address a dog that has done that once and may do it again. And so that's what this does. There are some exceptions to this dangerous dog ordinance. You know, if the dog is used by law enforcement or military, obviously that's an exemption if it's acting in its official capacity. The threat or injury or damage was sustained by a person who was committing a crime at the time, willful trespass or tort upon premises lawfully occupied by the owner of the dog. So obviously somebody's trespassing and the dog bites. It's not the dog's fault, it's protecting its ground. The dog was responding to pain or injury, protecting itself or offspring. So if you try to approach a dog after it's been hit by a car or something along that line, so the dog bites, obviously then that it wouldn't apply. So then it gets into hearings. It provides for, again, the dog owner to have a period of 10 days, which they can appeal to the Board of Health. It talks about some standard issue penalties, which can be applied generally through the courts. And then applicability is basically within Saragordo County and the municipalities within its borders, unless the municipality has a current dangerous dog ordinance in effect. Okay, we had a lot of conversation about that. If Mason City and Clear Lake have their own dog ordinances, dangerous dog ordinances in place, then ours will not come in and supersede that. Okay?
They do have one in place, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yep. So, you know, I have a lot of statistics here about dog bites that occur not only in Iowa but across the country. There's several cases that have happened in Iowa, and I don't want to get into a lot of the details, but you know, in 2011, a child was maimed and killed in Hopkinton, Iowa. Recently in the news, there was a case where a woman had her nose bit off by a dog, and the dog latched on and had to be. The article was the husband had to bite the dog back to get it to let go. You know, there's some cases where we need to be able to be aggressive so I don't know if you have any questions, if there's any comments that I can try to hit on, or Ron or Karen, if I missed anything, they're here too. They've provided a lot of support to help make this what it is right now.
When you drafted this, is there a specific template that you drafted it off of? Obviously, there might be a master at some time.
So what we did was we received an example ordinance from the state of Iowa. Dr. Ann Garvey, who's the state veterinary, works for the Iowa Department of Public Health, provided us with an example. And again, then I researched quite a few different ordinances to use when we put this all together. Several of them that I used. Actually, I found a dog bite law attorney who had a model ordinance that was online that proved really, really useful. So he litigates and goes in and he's provided an example dog ordinance. So that was useful. The city or county of Dubuque was used. Council Bluffs was looked at. Again, here's Clear Lakes, which I found some nice language in there as well. And then again, the model dangerous dog ordinance came straight from the state of Iowa. So there was a lot of time put into this. And so yeah, it wasn't that we just made this up on our own. This is really just an enhancement to the Chapter 351 of the Code of Iowa. The other thing I just want to stress also, the question has come up, and I've received questions from members of the media as well. This is not breed specific. We're not getting into that. We're also not getting into nuisances. We don't want to be out tracking down people whether or not they're picking up, dogs and, using the restroom in somebody else's yard. Okay, that's not what we're getting into. We're trying to deal with vicious animals, vicious dogs that may impact, threaten, or hurt a human being. And having the ability to address those on a case-by-case basis if needed.
Questions for Brian, gentlemen?
Well, I do think it looks like you did a nice job on the draft. I can't see why we can't at least schedule a public hearing and stuff for it.
Okay.
have a date in mind?
Michelle and I talked, it sounds like July 9th we can start with and see what kind of comments we receive.
Okay. July 9th.
At 9:45.
Okay.
We have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Okay.
And I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded to set July 9th, 2013 at 9:45 is the time for the public hearing on the proposed dangerous dog ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Okay, moving down to item G, agreements and contracts. Authorize the chair to sign the Iowa Burn Justice Grant Agreement, Justice Grant Program. It's an annual agreement. Michelle?
It is a grant period of July 1, 2013 through June 30th, 2014, and this is for drug enforcement task force requirements, projects that they have.
I'll, so moved to authorize the chair to sign this Justice Assistance Grant Program.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to authorize the chair's signature on the Justice Assistance Grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Appointments, 3 for consideration date. Compensation Board members Rich Finstead, Tom Jolis, Veterans Affairs, Jennifer Gawley. Have all been contacted and are all willing to serve. Michelle?
Yes, Rosetta has had contact with Jennifer Golly and would like her reappointed. Jennifer is in agreement of that. Her 3-year term would then expire June 30th of 2016. Richard Finstead and Tom Jolis would like to be reappointed. Their 4-year term will expire June 30th, 2017.
Okay, gentlemen?
Yes, this time I would so present and make a motion to accept and appoint compensation board members so listed.
Second.
And with the caveat that accepted to serve, of
Veterans
course.
Affairs.
Yeah.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve Richard Finstead and Tom Jolis for the Compensation Board for a new term, and Jennifer Gawley for Veterans Affairs for a new term. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Correspondence and communication. We're down to adjournment.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.